everyone, this is Marguerite with Wreath by Marguerite. This is the Wreath by Marguerite channel on YouTube. I predominantly do tutorials for kits. This one I have one kit left to do. If you're interested in making it yourself, please reach out to me. All the information will be in the description. So today, this is a storm wreath. It is a wreath that is under 4 inches deep so that it will fit in that space behind a storm door or a screen door. You traditionally have 4 inches there, and this may look big and fluffy, but it's also very thin compared to a lot of wreaths. So it can go anywhere, but it's designed to fit in that space so you can put something in there without it getting crushed, because we all know a crushed wreath doesn't look good. So hang around, follow me while I put this together, and you can learn how to make it as well. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's get this thing going. First, I'm going to let you know that if you get a kit, you will get printed instructions on how to make this wreath. I would recommend that you watch the video once before you actually make the wreath and put any notes on here. It's a great place to put that. Everything that you're going to learn is quickly covered in this little handout. You're going to receive a frame. This is a 14¼ inch frame with 4 rings on it, just 4, and 6 crossbars. That's important because you need 4 in order to lay all your mesh in here correctly. You're going to have 12 pipe cleaners that are already going to be pre-attached to your wreath. Remember, I have 1 for sure more of this kit and maybe 2. So if you're interested, go purchase one, the one that's on the Etsy page. And if they're all gone, message me here on the YouTube channel. Okay, anyway, where was I? Frame, 6 pipe cleaners on the outside 2 rings, on rings 1 and 2, at the crossbars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then there's 6 more, and they are on the rings 3 and 4 in between the crossbars. So they're not at the crossbars, they're evenly in between the outsides. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6, and this is all already attached for you. You will receive this wooden MDF Let It Snow sign. I've already attached all of the pipe cleaners on the back. So you get 12 pipe cleaners on the frame, and then you need 2 more for the sign. Again, like I said, it's already been attached. I cut them in half, and they're stapled to the sign. Keep in mind, when you're stapling to the signs, do not use more than a 1/4 inch deep staple. Okay, so that's ready for you to go. You're going to get 12 to 13 pieces of deco mesh for your project. We all use 10-inch mesh when making the storm door style. When I say 10-inch, it's this way. It can be anywhere from 10 to 11 inches, and it's cut in strips 20 inches long this way. Okay, move that out of the way because we don't need it now. And then you're going to get 2 separate selections of ribbon. They're all the same patterns and colors. The difference is on half of them, you're going to get a 2.5 inch solid blue, where the other one it's a 1.5 inch. So you're going to place one of these in one pipe cleaner and then this in the next, and just keep alternating so that every other one is this combination and every other one is this combination. Another note I need to make on this kit, I even done the cutting of the dovetails and all the ribbon. Long story, I wasn't paying attention, I forgot, I was on the phone and I did them all. Your gain. So I'm going to put these aside because we're not going to use the ribbons yet. So there's 6 bundles of this and 6 bundles of this, because that makes 12, and we have 12 pipe cleaners, okay? So that's going over there for now. And let's get started. Oh yeah, let's get started. Here are the tools you need. You need a wire cutter, a pair of scissors. I'll show you what this wooden dowel is for in a minute. A ruler and a chip clip. These 2 are subjective. I'll show you how to use them, and then I'll show you how to do the wreath in the second half without using these, okay? All right, let's get all the tools out of the way. So we're going to be working on the outer ring first, so we want to make sure that we go around the frame and put all of the pipe cleaners horizontal to us. That'll make it easier to add the mesh in. Notice I'm turning the wreath around to put it in front of me to make it easier and not have to manipulate myself so much and stay comfortable. So we're going to take this mesh and take it curl side down. You see how it curls up like that? I usually lay something on one end to hold it down. Your mesh is always curl side down in this method. And we're going to find the center and mark it using the ruler. I'll use this on the first half to show you. So this is 10 1/4. So we're going to go just past the 5-inch mark and clip it, and then turn it around so that it clips at the top. Take that off. That should hold it down now. And then I'm going to find that mark again, because what we're going to do is we're going to gather the mesh into our thumbs using all of our fingers. This is an all poly, all plastic mesh. I'm creeping up towards that chip clip. So it's a little stiffer than some of the other materials I use, like fabric mesh. We're going to loosely hold it in our hands because we want to make sure these outer edges match up. That's what makes it a perfect circle the most. And we always pull the mesh from near the center and never from the end of the mesh, because if you do it from the end of the mesh, it can change the look. So then I bring it over and we're putting this mesh in the pipe cleaner up and down, and then we're going to take that pipe cleaner up and over and make it nice and tight and low, because our goal is to make a storm door wreath. It can go anywhere, but this is the whole idea behind this style of wreath. Okay, so we got that in there, and I can already tell it's not totally round again. Okay, so but first things first, take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. That is not even remotely circular, okay? This is bigger on this side than the other. It's completely normal for that to happen, and it usually happens with the first few that I do on each wreath till I get in my groove again. But to fix it, rather than taking it out and manipulating it more and creasing your mesh more, I just grab it by the pipe cleaners and I pull right at the base of the pipe cleaners everywhere I think I need to move it. Now I pulled it in too much, so I'm going to go here on this side to get my circle. So that side looks okay. Still got a point down here, so I have to hold it here and grab up here by the center. Over here now. You can either stand up to look at it if you don't think you've got the right perspective, or take a picture of it to see what you need to adjust. It's amazing how different the naked eye sees it than what you see when you're looking at it on the camera. Okay, there's one. We're going to skip and go to this one. Doing the same thing again. Curl side down, lay it down, get that ruler out, measure it just after the 5 mark. Your clip on it and flip it around. Okay, doing the same thing on this side, and we're going to do right there, and then I'm just going to gather it up at the center, bringing it down toward me or crawling toward the clip, keeping my eye on the clip because that's going to help me stay centered when I'm gathering it. All right, loosely put it in my thumb and forefinger. Get that nice and curved. Get as perfect in a circle as you can, then bring it over to the pipe cleaner, which is all ready for me because I prepped it before I put the mesh in. Okay, and I'm going to tighten low a couple times. Move those pipe cleaners out of the way and take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, and take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on this side. All right, we got a point going on here again. Apparently that's going to be the way it's going on this one. So see, I'm holding the pipe cleaner and I'm adjusting. This is not even. See how that's not even close? I'm going to bring it out here Get it up there like that. And this is all plastic. It's a little bit more of a struggle bus sometimes. Pull out any spare parts. So when that happens, I try to turn it under a little bit on the edges. This just doesn't like me today. All right, there we go. That's too long, so we're going to pull the back of this one. There we go. So it's more evenly distributed. There. That's better. We'll skip this one and go to this one. Keeping it out of the way. Deco mesh is like Velcro, so it will stick to everything. So if you can have enough workspace to push everything out of the way when you're not using it, the better off you'll be. Okay, turn it around. Do that one more time. Right there, gather it into my thumbs. Creep up the center. The more gathers you have in it, the better it'll lay. I think I'm getting better. Yeah, there we go. Bring this back over. We're skipping one and going here. Opening that up to get that centered in the pipe cleaner. Then we're going to twist it tight and low 2 to 3 times. Alright, put those pipe cleaners up in the air. Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, and the outside cut edge on this side over the inside cut edge, and adjust it if you need to, which I do. Holding the pipe cleaners to make my adjustment. The reason we're not pulling it from the outer edge is because it'll change the design and you can't fix it in the mesh. And the reason we're putting the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge too is that you're keeping the cut edges towards the inside of the wreath so that they're less likely to catch on anything, number one, and it'll fray less. You can't stop mesh from fraying, it's just a fact of life, but there are ways to minimize. I know some people cut their mesh with a wood, what is it called again? You know what it's called. It's got a tip on it and it gets really hot. I'll remember later when I'm not doing this in the middle of the night, more than likely. Or you can tell me in the comments. Wood burner. See? I knew it would come to me. Wood burner. Put that at the 5-inch mark. Stay. Center's here. So we're now going to gather that up the center. And this one's going to go in a pipe cleaner in between the first 3. Layering it this way gives it more dimension, I find. Hold it in the thumb and forefinger. Bring it over here to the pipe cleaner. That one was nice and round. I didn't have to make any adjustments before I put it in the frame. So now let's see what happens here. Tight and low 2 to 3 times. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. And then adjust it to get your circle. The most important thing to remember is to have a nice curve on the outside edge of the mesh, because that's really the only thing on the bottom layer that's going to be seen. You can turn the edges under if you think that helps. There you go. Got 2 more on this layer. All right. See, we've got that curl side down. I'm going to use that ruler to find our center. Clip it. pull it into your thumbs. This one's trying to get away from me. I want to stay in the center and it doesn't want to let me. Okay, there we go. All right, bring the frame back over. Notice how I'm pushing it away while I'm ruffling. That keeps it from sticking to everything. Put that in there, centered. Couple of frays on there I need to cut off. Tighten low 3 times. Cut that off. Could use the scissors too, but why be easy? Okay. Pipe cleaners in the air. This is really got an attitude. That's why it's so important when you're ruffling that you get a lot of smaller ruffles. It really gathers, whichever you want to call it, because that becomes an issue. There we go. This is the last one on this layer. Use the table. It helps sometimes. It's not sticking to it. Pull it up. That way I get the curl out of it. And then center, clip, flip it around. I'm gonna have to leave it. There you go. One more time. 5 inches, just after the 5-inch mark. Gather. I always feel like it's trying to pull me right to the right. But I get back on the center as quickly as possible. I'm going to adjust it while I have it here. And let us put that in there. Bring the pipe cleaner up. Tighten low 2 or 3 times. Don't be afraid of the products. They're sturdier than you might think. If you have to tug on it, you have to tug on it. All right, put that there. That one's way off, way off. Okay. This one's going to be my challenge this time. Don't know what's going on. Okay. I'm going to, let's see. How's that looking, the camera? There we go. That's the first layer. All right, so now we have the first layer of mesh on. It's time to attach our first set of 6 ribbon tails. So I'm going to need 3 sets from each pile since there's 2 different sets. And get over there, you don't belong there. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put the first 3 in and then the second set we'll do after that. That way they're every other. So we attach them in the same fashion as we did with the mesh, in that we're going to put them in every other. So let's put up the pipe cleaners vertical to us this time. Vertical. See, it likes to attach itself over there. And I'm moving the wreath around, doing the work for me. Ooh, pardon. All right, so we'll start with these bundles. They're already pre-folded. And where they are folded in the center is where you're going to gather them into your fingers. Get your thumb and your forefinger, hold it like that. Then you're going to take your tails and turn them towards the edge of the table so you have an upside down V. And then bring it into the mesh and pipe cleaner. And then make this really tight and low a couple of 3 times. And then twist it up even more because you want about a 1-inch stub of twist to make sure it's nice and secure. You're going to cut the excess off. The trash is too far away. Okay. And we're going to tuck that little stub into the frame. Okay. If you would like to see more detail on how I cut the ribbon, you can view any of the other videos that I have on my channel, and it'll show you how. It's super easy. But like I said, with this kit, you get it done for you. So I'm going to take notice I take the top 2 ribbons away from the bottom one and position each of the ribbons one at a time, doing the same thing where I want them to lay. And if you're wondering what's behind me, nope, you won't be seeing that. Never mind. All right, you'll see it at the end or in one of the other videos. I keep thinking the video that shows me in front of me is in this, and it's not. Okay. So I keep thinking you can see the wreath behind me on the easel. Never mind, I was wrong. See how we're separating that ribbon, and it gets a little bit of a bubble up towards the pipe cleaner. That's from gathering the ribbon. And then I make sure that I lay it flat and facing out to the outside. We're skipping that one. So we're still going to use the same bundle, which is the 2.5 inch snowflake, then the 1.5 inch plain simple solid ribbon, and then the 1.5 inch stripe. I'm going to use all 3 of these bundles first. Gather it at the center. See how I did that? I brought that to the outer edge. If you do that before you put it in the pipe cleaner, it does a better job of hanging out, facing outside of the wreath instead of trying to creep back up under the second layer. So I did tight and low with the pipe cleaner 3 times, then I'm twisting it upwards to make a 1 inch twist, cutting the excess off, throwing away the trash as I go. Lay that flat or tuck it under the ribbon, and then separate and position each piece of your ribbon. And don't be afraid to tug on it. It's strong, it's great ribbon. If you've done the twist like I recommend in this video, it's not going to pull out of there. So we're doing each one of these. And then I always like to do that. It's me. It helps keep it flat. That mesh really wants to be in the picture. This is my favorite winter wreath. This is something you can put up for Christmas and then have it all winter long. So it's time to put up another holiday if you decorate for other holidays. Of course, I decorate for all the major holidays: Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter. Patriotic usually goes up in May and stays up till Labor Day weekend when fall goes up, and then I do fall, Halloween, then I put the fall back up. Some years like this year, I skip the Halloween and I'm going to have the fall up all the way through till Thanksgiving week, either the weekend before or the weekend after I decorate. Depends on the weather. So we lifted the top 2 ribbons, and we're separating them all and punching those little bubbles out of the top with our fingers. Now I'll do the other side with the snowflake down, the blue in the middle, and the stripe on top. On the top layer it's a little different, so this is just what I do for the bottom layer. Of course, you can take everything I teach you and do your own thing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your creation, not mine. I just give you guidelines. So now I'm taking the second bundle, which has the 2.5 inch solid blue. Everything else is the same. Not that I did it in this kit, but a lot of times I'll do that where I have 2 different widths but the same color. It's because I'm towards the end of the rolls and I like to use them up. Put that in there. If you want a super detailed version of making this wreath, go back to the winter of 2024 and you will soon see me do every single solitary step and every single detail on every single ribbon, on every single piece of the mesh. You won't miss anything. We're going to separate these in the pattern I chose. And then I'm going to do the opposite on this side, but always starting with the back ribbon placement. Makes it easier. Okay, next bundle. And you could also put your ribbon in different patterns in the bundles. You don't have to put them in the same exact order that I did. Sky's the limit. We're going to gather that in the center where it's creased, hold it with our thumb and our index finger, pull the edges down towards the edge of the table, and then put that in that vertical pipe cleaner, tight and low the first couple 3 twists, and then twist up to make a 1-inch twist. Cut the excess off, throw it in the trash, tuck it into the mesh. You could also just lay it on top. This is more laying on top than pushed under. The bottom layer, no one's going to be able to tell. It won't be visible. One there. Lift that one out of the way. Put that one there. I pushed it in because I did that with the other ones too. I try to be consistent. All right, now we bring these top 2 up because we're bringing the snowflake down and out to the edge. Then the solid 2.5 and then the 1.5-inch stripe. And you're not seeing things, it's irregular stripes, they're not perfect stripes, which kind of makes it look like streaks of snow. That's just me. Tell me, what are your favorite colors in the comments for Christmas? My home is red and black buffalo plaid. Before that it was blue and white, but it was that deep blue. I was always into snowmen before I got into the buffalo plaid. Make sure that your tails come out even when you make the V's. Tight and low, a couple 3 times, and then up for an inch twist. And cut the excess. Tuck your pipe cleaner. And then you're going to separate your ribbon, bring the top 2 out of the way. And then if you have these little bubbles in the top from the gathering, just pop them out with your fingers. This side's going to have the snowflakes down towards the outside of the ribbon, outside of the mesh, outside of the wreath. All right, so now we have completed the first layer of this wreath. Now we are going to bring up the pipe cleaners in between each 2 pieces of mesh from the outside layer so that we can put the mesh for the second layer in there. You just bring it up, as far as it'll go. Okay. Okay, so now we go back to putting the pipe cleaners horizontally because we're putting the mesh in vertically. So mesh goes in vertically, ribbon goes in horizontally. All right, so we're back to the mesh. I'm going to scoot this out of the way a little bit. Now on this layer, I'm going to show you how to do it. I don't use the ruler. If you don't have one, it's even better. You're just going to fold it in half to find your center like that. Pretty easy, right? Now this is a solid 1-colored mesh, so it's important to still use the chip clip so that you can make sure, fold it in half, that you can stay on center. Some of the other wreaths that I made, it's a lot easier because I use a pattern mesh. And the pattern is consistent throughout, so it's easy to stay on center. Notice I'm gathering it, small gatherers going all the way up to the chip clip, using the chip clip as my guide to stay on center. There we go. Switched hands that time, didn't I? Now we're going to bring the one we're working on in front of us. Put that mesh in there. And then twist it tight and low 2 to 3 times. And then we're going to take that outside cut edge and put it over the inside cut edge. These pipe cleaners up and out of the way. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Got a little work to do on this one. It's not terribly round. That's okay. So I'm holding it from the pipe cleaner and bringing this out here because this edge didn't meet that one. I need to bring this out a little bit there because it was very pointy up there. And then this is way off, so I gotta bring this out on the back side. You can always take it out and re-ruffle it. I try not to do that very much. The less I'm handling it, the better. I find that this works just fine. We want this nice and circular. We're gonna skip one, go to this one, get another piece of mesh. I'm gonna use the table to uncurl it. So what I do is I put the curl on the outside of the table. That works well for me. Fold it in half to find your center. Flip it. You can also use your cutting mat to find your center too. But I find this is super fast and easy when you just fold it in half. You're never wrong when you do that. Okay, gather up that center. Then I'm going to go to the one-handed techniques, so it's up to you. That helps when it's really curly like this one is. You can still get a good gather. I would do it the other way for a while to make sure you're comfortable before you try something different. So I did that one, I'm doing this one. All right. And you'll notice I didn't make sure that it was perfectly round out on the table. That's up to you. That comes with experience. I know I'm gonna have to probably adjust it once I get in here. So let's tighten low 2 to 3 times. Always, always, outside cut edge over inside cut edge. No, outside cut edge over inside cut edge. And I did pretty well eyeballing it. Didn't have to make a lot of adjustment. Just curl this edge under. That's still a little pointy right there. So let me go in here where it's tucked in and bring that out a little bit. Grabbing right at the base of the pipe cleaner to make that adjustment. There we go. Did a little too much. There. So now we're going to our third one. And then we will go back and do the other 3 in between them, layering them. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment. I will be more than happy to answer them. Okay, I'm going to put that clip right there. I'm going to leave this on here to weigh it down until I get to the top, because that helps give me a little more leverage. So there's the center. We're going to gather it. I don't have to fight the mesh curling as much when I do that. Just need to pull that off now. Alright, so we did that one, so this one's next. It's easier for me to angle the wreath a little bit. I'm doing this 3 times. Bring it this way. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Alright. I'm going to grab this back here to adjust it, holding my pipe cleaners. That's gonna come out there a little bit. Alright, there's that. You'll notice the ribbon's probably trying to creep under the mesh a little more, but in the end, if we need to pull it out, if it's not visible, we can do that. So here we go with the final 3. I'm gonna put this over here now. It's just easier. I'm gonna use that to hold it down. Use this clip, center. Where the piece of mesh was on the roll that it originally came on really determines how tight of a curl it had on it. And remember, you're always putting the curl side down. So this must have come from further out in the roll. It's not so curly. Okay, we're going to gather that up now that we've found the center. tight and low 3 times, 2 to 3 times. Okay, get it up in the air, out of the way. Bring the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, always. To keep that cut edge protected from fray and catching on things. Curl that under a little bit. How are we doing here? All right, next. That one's done. Needs to stay under. There we go. And you're gonna have an extra piece of mesh in your kit. Looks like this one had 2. You could always use make a ruffle to put behind a piece of, behind a bow to give it a little bit more poofiness if you have extra pieces. Done that for people before. Fold it in half, clip it, turn it around, remembering that this is curl side down. Always curl side down. Now we're going to fold it in half. Rub my nose. Okay. Just gather that at the center, focusing on that clip at the top to stay centered. Lots of little gathers, the better, the more the better. It helps it look nice like this does. Doesn't that look good? Put that in there vertically in the horizontal pipe cleaner. Bring the pipe cleaners up. Tight and low 3 times, twist it. All right, get those pipe cleaners up and out of the way. Take that outside cut edge on one side over the inside cut edge. And then outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on this side. And you can curl the edges under a little bit to get it a little bit more controlled. Let go of me, see? That's not a good thing. And this should be, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are on the last one. The reason I question myself is, once again, I had 2 extra and not 1. So I was afraid I might have missed one. Check your work as you go. There's nothing wrong with that. These are extra. Let me get them out of the way. This is the final. I don't need this pipe cleaner either. Thank you. The less you have in your field of work, the better. Put that clip on there. Put the cutter on there. Curl side down. Go to the other end, fold it in half. I tried to use the ruler there. Yes, it wasn't your imagination. Put the clip in the center, which was 5 inches, just over 5 inches on this wreath. Turn it the other way. Again, still curl side down. Fold it in half to find your center. And now gather it up into your thumb and index finger, or in whatever fashion is most comfortable with you. This is the most controlled way. It doesn't go flying out of your hands because you got 2 hands on it. Okay, there we go. There we go. That looks good. Bring it over. Place it in the center. So half of the mesh is on each side of the pipe cleaner. Tight and low, twist the pipe cleaner 2 to 3 times. That's to keep the wreath as thin as possible for its original intention. We're going to bring that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. And I haven't said it much in this video. Cut off any stragglers that are hanging out. They don't need to be there. I'm going to turn the edge in on this a little bit more. That one seems to have sat flat really well. Okay, so now I'm going to take these pipe cleaners and pull them out towards the outside of the wreath. And I'm going to stand up. And I'm going to find the poof of mesh that I like the best, that I think is most perfectly round, and I always put that at 12 o'clock. So this is 12 o'clock, this is 6 o'clock. Why that is important is because this is a license plate size sign, and it fits perfectly between these four ties. And I always put the sign in before I put the last set of ribbon. I just find that it works better. Then you find the center of your sign and make sure that's equal with the pipe cleaners at 12 and 6 o'clock, so you can attach your sign now. What I do is I have these little embroidery needles. They're plastic. I use them to pull the pipe cleaners through the mesh so I'm not on the struggle bus. So I'm going to put this in next to the pipe cleaners here. I'm trying to find the best view. There we go. And then I'm going to take that pipe cleaner and put it through the eye of the needle. And I'm going to lift my wreath a little bit and feel for it when it comes through. And when it gets totally through, I'm going to pull it off of the needle. This way you can be careful enough to make sure that it doesn't go through your ribbon. When I put a sign on with four pipe cleaners on all four corners, I usually go from one side to the other, and then one side to the other in an X pattern. That helps it to lay flat and not all cattywampus. Now I'm going to go to this. Since I did that one, I'm going to do this one. Bring it in right under the sign too. Make sure it's not outside of the sign's view, because you don't want to see it. Although it'd hide pretty well in this white mesh. But the point of that is to make sure it's not visible outside of the sign. So then what I do is I make sure that's still where I want it to be. And then I'm going to hold it in place and flip the wreath. And then I'm going to push down just a little bit on the wreath and tightly put the pipe cleaner around the rim of the wire wreath frame, the inner ring, until the pipe cleaner is completely wrapped around the ring. And then I take the pointed side of it and poke it down in towards the front of the wreath. That way nothing is going to scratch a door or window on whoever's door or window this is going on. I have a window in my door, so I have to be careful of both. So I'm doing this one now. I try to make sure the pipe cleaner goes through the mesh near where there's a pipe cleaner from the rest of the project. It helps to hold it in place better and it doesn't shift as easily. So now that's in there. We're going to go back and do the other two. So here, right next to this set of pipe cleaners, I'm going to lift this up, put the pipe cleaner through, fold the tip just a little bit to make sure it stays. Let go of me. This way you don't wear good clothes. Get that through and pull it off the needle. And then just do the final one, which is this one here. Right next to those pipe cleaners and not through the ribbon that's on the bottom layer. There we go. All right, it's in place. Let me hold it with my hand again and flip it over. Put that tool away. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And okay, so where are the pipe cleaners? There they are. There's one, pushing down on the wreath a little bit so that your sign stays flat and level. After you've hooked these on the back, the pipe cleaners, be a good time to cut any frays, making sure the end is tucked in. I just saw another one. There we are. It's white, so it blends in so much. There we go. There's some right there. Let's do this last one. See? Long sleeves are bad. But it's a cold, blustery day in Nebraska, so I needed a little bit more coverage. Twisting this around the frame, making sure the point's down into the wreath, okay? One more. All right, let's turn it over. There's the sign. See how these are all hiding in there? I'm gonna have to go back at the end and pull them out. And once again, we've got 2 different ribbon bundles. So we're gonna do the first 3 and then the second 3. I always try to do these 4 first because I like these 2 to sit on top of the ribbon that's on there already. It gives it a pattern, just looks better. That's how I roll. So I'll do the 4 on the sides first. So I'm going to start with this one. Gather it in the center. This time I am not going to be making the V. You can still do that, the inverted V, but I want it to spread out a lot. So tight and low 2 to 3 times. And I am going to make these little curly cues by taking the pipe cleaner, wrapping it around. You can use a pen or a pencil if you don't have a little dowel. Nothing too thick because these pipe cleaners aren't that long. And you can either pull them out to get a design, or you can keep them tight how I had them in the first place. So I'm going to put the snowflake to the outside of the wreath at this point. So I'm going to bring that out there. I'm lifting and separating each of the ribbons. As I do it, I'm giving it a little fluff there. You could leave them flat, it's up to you. I like to put the fluff in there. There's little bubbles at the top, you just poke them out with your fingers. And then that was that design. And it's the same over here. So I'm going to do this one next. And then I'm going to have one of each left for the top and the bottom. This is the bundle that has the 2.5-inch solid blue in it. The other bundle is the one that has the 1.5-inch solid blue. So tight and low 2 or 3 times. Make your little curly cues. And then this side. I'm going to wait to pull them out. So this will be exactly the same as that one. So we need to bring the snowflake out to the edge, blue in the center, and the stripe at the top. Punch those little bubbles out. Come on. And the same thing on this side. You notice we're not mirroring the ribbon on the top layer. It's all the snowflake one way or the other. Okay, that's good. That's good. So now we're going to do these 2, just from this bundle. Another thing is you can twist these up and hide them behind and cut the excess off and just show the stub of the white pipe cleaner, or you could put a cute little embellishment here. Sometimes I'll put snowflake buttons. If you watch some of my other videos, in particular the sunflower wreath, you'll see how I use buttons with shanks to put there to hide the mechanics of the pipe cleaner if you don't want to see them. Cinch this up, make sure my pipe cleaner is vertical and my ribbon is horizontal, and I'm working on the bundle directly in front of me. Tighten and low 2 to 3 times. Twist that pipe cleaner, then make your little curly cues. This has also been one of my better sellers over the years too. I've done it for classes in person as well. So now this time, since the striped is towards the sign, this time the snowflake's going to be towards the sign. Again with that every other bundle pattern, which will be coming together shortly. Always turning the wreath and not yourself. Okay, lift these 2. Working on getting those bubbles at the top out. This one comes down here. This one comes here. Sometimes they like to move and do their own thing. And pull these out. There we go. You could even put those little styrofoam glittery bowl fillers on the pipe cleaners. There, that would be cute too. I've done that as well. It's all what your imagination comes up with. So now let's gather this again. Thumb and forefinger, put it in there horizontally, and the pipe cleaners were vertical. Tight and low 2 to 3 times. Curl it. Now you could wait and curl them all at the end again. That's up to you. I like to do it as I go along so I don't forget to do it, because that's happened and I've been at a show and I'm like, oh. It's not the end of the world, but you know, the less you have to worry about when you're in that environment, the better. Okay, let me separate that now. Okay, so this is going to be the same as this one. So that means the snowflakes go to the center. And there we go. We're lifting each away from the one below it when we're positioning it, so it stays better where you put it. Okay, so now we are down to the top and bottom center. So this had the 2 inch, 2.5 inch, and 2.5 inch, so we need the 1.5 inch between it. This one's 1.5 inch. Let me put these vertically. Gonna do the bundle. Gather in the center where the crease was. Stick it right there in the middle. Twist low and tight 2 to 3 times. I'm gonna twist this around the dowel to make my curly cues. Pull them out a little bit so you can see the design in it. Now this had the stripes on each side's bundle closest to the sign, so now it's going to be the snowflake, lift and separate. Glue in the middle, and again notice that I am running my finger along the wire as I'm spreading them out. That'll straighten out any wrinkles I put in it and help give it a little curl. And then making sure those little pockets are punched out, little bubbles. One more to go. So these two had 1.5 inch in the light blue solid. So this one should have 2.5 inch, yep. But you see how it's laying on top of the bundles below it? It just looks nice. It looks more finished. Let's make sure this is vertical. Put this in horizontal. Working on the bundle that's directly in front of you, not manipulating your body too much. Making my curly cues. Pull it out a little. I'm done with that. Maybe. And then separated the bundles out. Now you have the snowflakes at the top, so this time it's going to be snowflakes to the outer edge. Run your fingers over it. Run your fingers over it. Sometimes it lays where it's supposed to, all on its own. Alright, let's get this out. Lay that there. This goes in the center and this on the top. Let's make sure it's all positioned well. This needs to go up a little bit more. Wired ribbon was the greatest invention, I'm telling you. Gave us a lot more control of our projects. So let me turn that around. Get over here out of the sun a little bit. And I'm just going to go around the edge and pull out my ribbon. Always lift your mesh when you're working on that ribbon below so it doesn't snag on it. Because it's going to try. These are completely hidden right here. Let's get that out there where it can be seen. Alright. Because that ribbon needs to be seen. Otherwise, why put it in there, right? Did I go back over one yet? No, still. All right, one more time. Okay, there we go. It's all finished. Not too hard to do at all, is it? I really don't think so. When you break it down into little bits, like I show you in the video, it makes it so much more manageable and easy to do. I can tell you for sure that this is something anyone can do. I remember having a customer at one of my in-person classes that I do, just petrified to make this wreath. Didn't think there was any chance she was going to make it and it would look any good. And she was obviously pleasantly surprised, because when you break it down into the absolute lowest common denominator, it makes it so much easier to put together. So I thank you for being with me today. This completed wreath will be available in my Etsy shop, as well as the additional kit that I still have. If once you viewed this video, neither of them are available anymore in the Etsy shop, I would love it if you reached out to me and I can see if I can still put one together for you and get the supplies. It just depends on when in the year it is and if they still have it. This is one that I've done in in-person classes and it's been very popular. It's a nice wreath that you can have up for the entire winter, not just Christmas. So remember that as well. Well, if you liked what you see, I would love it if you followed along and subscribed to the channel. It's free to do so. You'll get notifications there, as well as if you go on my Facebook page and follow me there, you'll get advance notice on what the project looks like the Sunday coming up and when and where. So usually my videos are Sunday afternoons at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So stay tuned virtually every Sunday. I've only missed one or two. The fourth quarter of the year, when I'm making this now, is a very busy time of the year. So sometimes I have to give in to my body and rest. So I don't like to disappoint either. Also, speaking of other platforms, you can find me first of all here on the Wreath by Marguerite YouTube channel. I'm Wreath by Marguerite on Facebook, I'm Wreath by Marguerite on Instagram, and I'm Wreath by Marguerite on Pinterest. So you can go to any of those platforms to see what's going on in my world. I thank you again for spending time with me. Any of your questions should have been answered during the video or down in the comment section, the description section, including links to all the different things. If your questions are still not answered, feel free to reach out by messaging me. I would love the interaction and to be able to help you in any way possible. Thanks again, and you guys have a great day. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.